Okay, I've got another tweet that actually I just I saw not long before we went on the air, and I wanted to read this because there's a couple things I wanted to mention before we go this week. Donald Trump tweeted, as families prepare for summer vacations in our national parks, Democrats threaten to close them and shut down the government. Terrible. And Andy Jewett replied, objectively false. If you could turn Yellowstone into a riverboat casino called Hibernation Gulch made out of dead bears, you would do it. And I think that wins Twitter for the fucking day, because that characterizes this fucking President Fuckknuckle, this fucking prick who I haven't gone off over the last couple of weeks because I've been trying to still ignore it. I just couldn't force myself to go back and pay attention to what this fucking moron is doing. But since it's everywhere these days, since he may be causing a goddamn nuclear war with North Korea, hey, here's a fucking Jeopardy question for you. Which leader of a country that's a rich, despotic dictator with bad hair and a mental illness is going to drop the first fucking nuclear bomb? There's a fucking question. But since all this stuff is going on, I was starting to look and try to find something positive. And I have discovered something positive because Trump is doing something better than I thought he would. He is not keeping his campaign promises, which is better than him keeping his fucking campaign promises. But if you noted 100 days, and I'm going to go into this, why this fucking moron was trying to brag about all that he had done in his first 100 days. There's no wall. There's not going to be a wall. That was his big thing. We're going to build this wall. They ain't going to build the wall. Mexico ain't going to pay for it. The United States is not going to pay for it. He's not going to get sane, intelligent people that have approval over this shit in our government to fucking spend $15 trillion or whatever the fuck to build a goddamn wall that ain't going to do any good to begin with. Sane people, just like we knew that it was bullshit. Brian, were we saying here on the program about 6 months ago, he ain't going to build a fucking wall. You can't build a wall. It costs too much money and it's probably impossible. Well, guess what? Who could have known? Healthcare, repeal of Obamacare. They had 8 years to do this. They had such a rotten bill to fuck the poor people and the sick people that they couldn't even get all the Republicans to agree on it, much less the Democrats wouldn't have let it fucking get by, but they couldn't even get their own people to all agree on it. And they've had 8 fucking years. Maybe we ought to let Arkansas figure out health care. But he comes up with that bill, so now they're working on it again, which now they've found different ways that they can fuck the old people and the sick people and the people with pre-existing conditions. And they're going to try to pass that one, and they don't think they can pass that one either because it's stupid bills written by stupid people who don't understand how this shit works. And the tax reform. Did you love the tax reform bill?
No.
No, I loved it because the tax reform bill was a piece of fucking paper with some good things to do in their mind, written down on it with no explanation really of how the fuck it was possibly going to. You sign more paperwork to get a cell phone than their proposal for revamping the complex United States tax system. Because it was just like people writing a goddamn New Year's resolution list. I'm going to become attractive and successful. I'm going to get rich and concentrate on my health. And I don't have any idea how I'm going to do these things, and I probably don't have the motivation or the desire or the fucking finances or whatever, but those would be great things to do. As Star Maker Boland says, do more of the good shit and less of the bad shit. That's what their plan was, but wouldn't you know who won the pony? The people that would most benefit from the plan are Donald Trump and all of his friends who are rich. How could that have possibly been foreseen?
And we still don't have the tax return to know just exactly how much it does benefit him.
Well, no, we can only guesstimate since we don't know who he owes money to or how much money he makes or where he makes that money from or what country pays him. And he's had 6 different stories on whether he was going to release those tax returns or not. But at least the tax reform, which would send the fucking country into a recession because it would it would stimulate a bunch of billionaires to have more money and hire more people for fucking $7.98 an hour or whatever the fuck they can get away with instead of stimulating so it would deprive, no corporation pays 35% anyway, but it would deprive the government of a lot of operating capital that these billionaires would get fucking keep. Um, he's not fulfilling any of the main campaign promises because that stuff has to be passed by smart people who know that it wouldn't work. But the stuff that he can do on his own, have you noticed he blistered Barack Obama for executive orders, and Donald Trump has signed more executive orders than Obama already at this stage of the fucking game, and he thinks they're bills. Did you see that clip?
I did.
Yeah. Oh, we've signed so many bills. I think they said 24 bills. They're not bills. Bills are laws, you idiot. You are the president of the United States. You don't know how the goddamn government works. Remember, I'm just a bill. What the fuck? You can't sing the fucking song. What the fuck? It's not a bill. It's an executive order that the president can sign that is in 4 years when we have a Democratic president in office, because there's no fucking choice to rectify whatever damage this idiot's going to fucking do. He's going to make the Republicans, in 4 years from now, the Republicans will be as popular as crotch rot. But the next president can just undo it. But in the meantime, it's 4 years of fucked upness. Every single day of the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency, he waffled, he reversed himself, he outright lied, he blurted shit out of his ass. The thing a couple of days ago, he thinks Andrew Jackson could have stopped the Civil War, even though he died 15 years beforehand and fucking was president 30-something years beforehand. And maybe Frederick Douglass could have helped him because he didn't know who he was either. And there's tape of him actually telling a group of Republican politicians, you know, not many people today know this, but Lincoln was a Republican. Everybody today knows this, you fucking idiot, and always has. And the only reason you didn't is because you're a rich fuck that hadn't gone to the grocery for yourself in 40 fucking years. And you're a goddamn idiot. And everybody in the room knew that Lincoln was a Republican, and Lincoln is spinning in his grave right now that you call yourself a fucking Republican. And somebody had just told Donald Trump that right before he walked out there to try to prep him, such as like when they informed him that Andrew Jackson was a guy with a big heart who could have negotiated us out of the Civil War 30 years before it fucking happened. A complete fucking moron is running our country, and not even a well-meaning moron, a crooked, mentally unstable moron. So with the executive orders, he can do damage. And I just jotted this down off top of my head 45 minutes before we started to tape this program, of the damage that this fuck knuckle, fart stench, has done in 3 months. He came out in full support of doing absolutely nothing on gun control. They've cut funding, or tried to cut funding, or continue to cut funding to Planned Parenthood, women's health care. They approved the Keystone Pipeline to poison the environment. They've whitewashed the complete White House climate change website, basically under construction, and done everything they can to poison the environment, to fuck the EPA with removing all the regulations on the fucking coal companies and environmental regulations. He's trying to sell off the national parks and drill offshore of everything. He's removed regulations on businesses, period, that we're supposed to have to keep an eye on them so they wouldn't fuck us again anymore. He damaged the Supreme Court for 30 years with another crackpot conservative that's going to vote against, goddamn, I don't know, Sunday fucking business openings or whatever, because his whole cabinet, goddamn alt-right religious fanatics, not just the cabinet, but the conglomeration. He's appointed people to be in charge of shit that either don't know anything about what they're in charge of or they want to get rid of it. The crooks in the hen house are already bailing. Flynn's gone. He's under investigation. The president's under federal investigation for ties to Russia. This Gorka guy that's supposed to be their terrorism expert's about to be run off. And the whole group of them are either crooked, tied to Russia, right-wing conservative crackpots, incompetent, religious fanatics, or all of the above. And this is just in 3 fucking months. And still, I saw, this is what pissed me off the most, not 96% of the people. Trump has the lowest approval rating at this time in his presidency of anybody since the history of approval ratings. But 96% of the people that voted for Trump said they approved of the job he was doing. He hasn't done anything except damage. And they still can't admit it because they would have to admit either they fucked up or they did the right thing. And they are picking strongly along that second line. But they get mad when they say, don't call the Trump voters stupid because that just makes them more defensive. No, it tells the truth. If you don't want people to call you stupid, don't do stupid shit. Don't vote for stupid people and don't make excuses for stupid people that are stupid excuses. You elected a lying, ignorant, obnoxious, unqualified egomaniac to be the most powerful man in the fucking free world. So just, you've got to admit now what you have done. The rest of us told you what he was. He's proven himself to be that. And now you have to admit that you fucked up. Then the reason he came up with fake news and does everything he can to delegitimize or knock the media is because they're the ones telling people the truth about what he's doing. And so now there's, oh, the media's biased. No, you're a sucker and you've bought bullshit and you're too stupid to just check facts and just listen to words coming out of his mouth when he sounds like a baboon and he lies every day. Good fucking Christ.
And it's been fun on Twitter when you see, and I hate to use the word fun with this because none of it's funny or it's all scary, sad, whatever you want to say. But when people regularly on a daily basis pull up an old tweet of his about Obama or just about the world in general that completely contradicts what he's done. You know, you brought up with Obama, you brought up the executive orders. How about him criticizing Obama, his vacation days and playing golf all the time? How if he was president, he would never play golf. And he's had more days at Mar-a-Lago. And by the way, look at how much money we're spending on him going to Florida every weekend.
To play golf.
And on his family, on his kids traveling around, on his wife and his kids still being in the middle of Manhattan. Look at how much money we're spending. And it's actually more than he wants to cut out of, you know, NPR and PBS and all of these things that he wants to cut. Look at how much he's spending to live the life of Riley.
He said he was spending his own money to campaign, which was not correct. He spent a lot of his own, but not all of his own. But why wouldn't he come out and say now, since we don't know how much he makes because of the tax situation, but couldn't he come out now and say, well, since I'm a billionaire and I'm rich and I can afford this, I'll just pay for my own fucking security and travel. That's what he ought to be doing. Instead of saying he doesn't need the salary of being president. No, he needs all the goddamn perks. Anyway, I didn't mean to bring us all down, but it's fucking ridiculous to me that people are still going, yeah, he's doing, oh boy, he's draining that swamp. No, he gave the fucking alligators in the swamp a bunch of fucking Dianabol and jacked them up. They're bigger now than they were because nobody's watching them because they're all his buddies. Fuck, except he can't even get the smart crooks. He has to get like the Steve Bannon level crooks that are stupid crooks. It took him 2 years to fucking get the goods on Nixon for just being behind a break-in at a goddamn hotel. Now, they're going to get the fucking goods on this whole Russia thing and everything else that he's ever fucking done. Eventually, as soon as we figure out where the fuck he's paying to keep it shut up. And they're saying, he's doing good. No, he's not. He's full of shit. When smart people look at him, he's obviously full of shit. Not only in the way that he says shit that's full of shit and is factually inaccurate and blatantly untrue, but also in the way that you can tell that somebody just told him 15 minutes before that interview the guy's name and some fact that he remembered half of about him. Yeah, that old Andrew Jackson, boy, he was a real pip. You fucking idiot. I am losing my patience with anybody that is still trying to fucking give this fucking moron a pass. He don't know how this shit works. He doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't give a shit to do it. He's letting the fucking nuts around him tell him what to do. He thinks his son-in-law is going to cure fucking war in the Middle East. Like it's a goddamn real estate deal. You don't think that little fucking circumcised prick is in over his head? It's a fucking shit show. It's Looney Tunes, and don't defend it. I'm sick and tired of hearing people defend this shit. I will block you. I will bring the hammer of blockedness down upon you if you try to somehow excuse anything that Donald Trump has fucking done, even if any of his ideas were good ideas and weren't Republican conservative ideas or Steve Bannon Breitbart ideas or just stupid fucking ideas in general. If any of them were any good, Why does anybody think he's the guy that could actually fucking do them?
I know that we have a long pause here.
You're trying to think of a fucking reason.
I can't
what
give you a
would
reason.
make you about this fucking guy think that even if he had a good idea, which he hasn't had any, and he doesn't spout off any that people tell him to have, the people, whoever's telling him what to fucking say and what to think, the ideas they have are no good. But even if they were good, why would you think this fucking knucklehead is goddamn capable of getting it done?